Hello, my name is James Tilson. Welcome to the channel. I'm just going to give you a fair warning. This is my first video, so please do expect a little stutter here and there, and I do apologize about the background noise. I'm currently in an environment where, unfortunately, the financial bracket matches the characteristic traits. So, if you hear slights along the way, just ignore it and focus on the message. I truly do believe that I have some valuable information on the political predictions that I'm about to make. Um, I've been watching politics for over 15 years. I look through different sources and nitpick the hypocrisy on both sides, and I understand historical patterns, and my predictions have been, up to par, at least 90% accurate. So, I strongly recommend to, take my 2 cents as value. My presidential prediction for 2028 is that whoever gets out of the Democratic primary is going to win. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout because, once again, the MAGA phase is over and it wouldn't be Donald Trump, obviously. It will be someone else more polished without the baggage. And my assumption is going is most likely going to be JD Vance, since Donald Trump here and there has been hinting that he'll be passing the torch towards him. Um, this is for several reasons. I mean, JD Vance has been super loyal to him, and like I said, he hasn't said anything that would go against Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump respects loyalty, and he knows that whoever he vouches for is going to single-handedly win the Republican primary without any resistance whatsoever. So, I mean, the media has been hinting throughout the interviews from him, and obviously he can't really say the quiet part out loud, but I mean, he worded in such a way where he's seriously thinking about it, and I know his political ambitions is running for president. Now, there's going to be the never Trumpers who's gonna, come out the shadows, who think they have a chance of winning the Republican primaries, such as, maybe Chris Christie might attempt again. But like I said, if you check his favorability among his base, he still has a 80s to 90% favorability amongst his base. So the Never Trumpers is not going to stand a chance in this election cycle. Is most likely they're going to have to wait another either 4 years or 8 years, depending on who wins, obviously. So, um, like I said, my prediction, who's going to come out on top, is definitely going to be the Democrat candidate. Everyone is betting on Gavin Newsom, which, I mean, I think, he'll eventually make those accusations into fruition. We can list out several factors, such as he already has the name recognition. If you look at his resume, he's been a senator, he's been a governor, and he's going to be vouched by the other Democrat establishments. Most likely, Barack Obama is going to vouch for him. He left office with a 58% approval rating. He's going to get help from, Democrat laureates such as Bill Clinton, who's considered in the Democrat Party, I mean, as a top five president of all time. And people like Hakeem Jeffries and, just the big Democrat names are all going to galvanize and vouch for him. If there's a small chance in hell, I'm hoping to see a woman candidate break the barriers because, like I said, it's just going to be good optics for the Democrats, especially when historians are, you know, reciting history. They're going to be the party who is more open-minded, tolerant, and who looks more of like the America vision. So, I mean, if I was a Democrat strategist, I would strongly recommend them to put all their chips behind a woman. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. It's most likely going to be Gavin Newsom, and you know, uh, women just going to have to wait, another two election cycles because it's inevitable that the incumbent president, if hypothetically speaking, a Democrat candidate wins, obviously he's going to run again. So they're going to have to, wait another 8 years to, put their name in the hat again, which is very unfortunate. I do believe in women empowerment, and I would have loved to see, someone like Hillary Clinton, win and continue the Clinton dynasty. I'm all about maintaining the status quo. But, you know, unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And there's been several reasons I can give you why Donald Trump won, but I'm not going to go into details about that. I'm just going to focus on 2028 predictions and give you the reasons why I think so. Okay. So, number one, Donald Trump's approval rating is down the drain, is one of the lowest in modern history. Number two, the American voters are pretty volatile. They don't like to have a party in power for a long duration of time. Don't believe me? Just look at the facts through, the midterm and the general election. It's very rare that a party can maintain a stronghold for a long period of time, especially in the modern era. Number three, who knows the potential of the trade war and how it's going to affect consumers' pockets. We have a very famous quote by James Carville. It's all about the economy, stupid, and that always rings true. That's always the number one issue for a majority of Americans, and that will most likely be the case in 2028. And so, I'm pretty much sure that the Democrat strategist is going to whisper in the ear of the Democrat candidate who comes out of the primary to hammer home the negative effects of the trade war because for some reason we all know that Donald Trump is a very simplistic. He doesn't think two steps ahead in certain issues, and and doesn't expect that countries are going to retaliate with their own tariffs, which, like I said, is only going to transfer to the consumer, and they're going to have to absorb the cost. This is just basic economics. Anyone who tells you otherwise really don't know what they're talking about. Donald Trump's strength points, which is going to transfer to the campaign messaging to whoever comes out of the Republican primary, is that illegal deportation is at a historical low. Crime has dramatically decreased. You know, we're not hitting a depression or a recession. Who knows? It's still only been like 8 months, so we have to wait until the whole first term is completed to see the results of his policies. Um, and I mean, that's pretty much his talking points that would transfer to the next candidate in charge. What I believe, what the Republican candidate is going to do, which most likely is going to be J.D. Vance in this situation, is that he is going to align with Donald Trump as much as possible in the primary. And then when it comes to the general election, I'm not sure what Jedi mind tricks he's going to play, but he then is going to try to distance himself to trying to garner up the independent voters. Can he pull it off? My opinion, I really don't think so. And this is the reason why I think eventually he's going to lose. Now, if there other candidates that are potentially a threat to the Democrat Party? Of course, there are. Um, my eye is focused on Marco Rubio. I'm not sure what his ambitions are, but I still do believe that he wants to give it another chance, and I do believe that he will be a serious threat if he actually could come out the Republican primary. I don't see anyone else as a serious threat. I mean, if this was normal times, before the Trump era, I would say Chris Christie because he was a rising star during 2012. But of course, the GWB scandal, kind of tarnished his legacy for a little bit. But, Americans have a short memory in politics, and that's really not going to affect them. But and politics is all about timing. And since we're in such a this MAGA phenomenon, it's just political suicide if he decides to run because obviously he already mistakenly um, classified himself as a never Trumper, which is pretty idiotic. I mean, I don't know why anyone would do that. Um, but like I said, he wouldn't stand a chance at all. All I can see is either JD Vance or Marco Rubio. And, you know, my assumption is JD Vance is going to come out on top. Now, as for the Democrat Party, we're going to see resistance, which is pretty much going to ebb as time goes by. You're going to hear huge uproars from the progressive side of the spectrum, trying to go against the Democrat establishment. But we've seen this playbook over and over again. Whether it's like a Bernie Sanders type. I mean, the talking points is that all his policies are populist, and the majority of Americans favor those policies. But when it comes down to it, they're not going to vote in their best interest because they're going to view it as pie in the sky. For whatever reason, the talking point of it not being mathematically possible has been super effective. And he's just going to be looked at as you know, a unicorn who, you know, doesn't understand the reality of politics, which is somewhat true because the only way you can get these big, bold, radical, progressive ideas implemented is if you have a Democrat in the executive branch and also have control of the House and Senate. That's the only way you can see these big ideas come into fruition. So whatever media you're listening to, if it leans on the left wing, um, well, consider quote unquote extreme left wing, which is really not extreme. I mean, it's pretty centrist in other countries. They're going to argue that, they stand corrected. They're with the American people. But like I said, um, is pretty much just waving a wand and wishing for magic to happen, because the stuff that they're trying to um, the stuff that they're trying to come to fruition is just not politically possible unless they have a strong majority in both houses, which will not be the case. So very the chances most likely is going to be a Democrat establishment. A progressive candidate will never win the White House. Don't listen to anyone else who says differently, and start bringing up talking points such as, "Oh well, let's go back all the way to the Great Depression when FDR got into power and he won 4 terms with his huge, big progressive policies." I mean, look how long we're talking about. And so, yeah, these guys don't know what they're talking about. Is all just wishful thinking. And on the right, whoever says that, the MAGA phase is going to keep continuing, obviously don't know what they're talking about. They're stuck in the bubble. Um, they're just going to be able to galvanize the MAGA voters, which they already have. They can't galvanize anymore. Those who already support Donald Trump, already been already came out the shadows, and so there's no more independence that's gonna go to their side. So, like I said, it's gonna be very difficult for the person who comes out that still advocate and defend Donald Trump policies, but in the general election have to try to garner up the people that are more centrist and have independent leanings. So that's my prediction. Um, a Democrat candidate is going to come out on top in 2028. And when that happens, you can, pull back this video and say that I was correct, as usual. I should have made YouTube videos long before this. I predicted the January 6th incident, not the exact date, but I did predict political violence from the outcome that happened. And, I did predict some. I did predict that Joe Biden was going to drop out and Kamala Harris was going to pick up. I was wrong about her winning, but like I said, I've been 90% accurate in my predictions. So I'm not going to have that many followers now, but once the evidence start piling up that I actually know what I'm talking about, I'm going to start to gain more followers, and people are going to start to consider my information valuable with my predictions. So, all right. Thanks for tuning in. Post comments, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. I welcome all the trolls. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get that as well. You can, you know, waste constructive time and post your hateful comments. This is an open invitation. You know, I'm open ears to listen to other people's opinions. And I will be strolling down to read them and replying, whether it's stupid or not. I'll give you a heart. You know, well, thank you. I greatly appreciate it, and you guys have a great day.